Hey everyone! Hopefully yesterday or at least this morning you read through the sheet that intros your project. Remember, this project is in lieu of a test. So I will not be giving you a test in this unit. Your project score will go in as your test score for Unit 11. In this video, I'm going to go through kind of the tips and tricks and point out some things, as well as give you guys some examples from last year so you kind of have an idea of what you're supposed to be doing. So the first example that I have is an apartment. This student got a 93.3% on it, so everything that they did was really good. They followed all the criteria, and they got a 93.3% with no extra credit added on it whatsoever. So I know it's a little hard to see, but she did a second floor apartment. I can make the picture a little bigger. So see, she did a second floor apartment. Um, she's got a kitchen, a utility closet, a bedroom, and she made things inside the apartment shapes. So she has I think that is an island, is her parallelogram or rhombus, I can't tell from the photo. And then she has some things in her bedrooms that are circles and squares and rectangles. She's got a pentagon in the living room. So she has all of her shapes. Now make sure if you're doing something like a building or an apartment or a house, that whatever it is, it has everything it would need to have. So I can't have a house without a bathroom. All right, if you make me a house and there's no bathroom in that house, you will get points marked off because it's not realistic. So keep that in mind. When you go to find your areas, one thing I want to point out is when you're doing something like a floor plan and you're going to find the areas of your shape, you have to find the areas of everything. So I would need to find the area of this bedroom, and that would be a rectangle. Okay, and then I would have to find the area of the nightstand, which is a circle. Okay, or the area of the desk, which I believe they made a triangle. Okay, but when I go to find the area of the whole room, I don't need to subtract those red things away. The area of the room is the whole rectangle. Okay, it's like in a floor plan, you'd have the dimensions, the area of the whole room. You wouldn't subtract the furniture area away. So keep that in mind when I say that you have to find all the areas, but you don't have to subtract areas. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, when I go to find the area of the kitchen over here, I'm not subtracting away the cabinets and the island. Okay, I'm just finding the area of the whole room. So to keep it simple. All right, the next project I have to show you is a house. They scored a 77%, so without any extra credit added, they got a 77%. Some of it was the scale. They weren't consistent with their scale on every object. Some of it's not, the circles, not using the right things. So with extra credit though, because they did make a 3D model, as you see right here, they did get a 93.3%. So I show this example to you because I want to show how important that maybe that extra credit opportunity of building the 3D model should be taken just in case. Okay, if you have that extra time, if you have a good way to do it, it might be something you want to do because it might bump your score up. This next example is a barn. That score that she has of 104%, or they have, there's actually two of them, they partnered up, is with extra credit. I don't have their raw score, I'm sorry, I couldn't find it. But with the extra credit that they did, they got 104%. There's the final design. This is what I'm expecting of you. This is the very least that you have to do is this part of the project. The extra credit, the 3D model is up to you. Okay, one thing I want to point out, if you look here on the picture, you kind of see like a line that goes across. That's because she used a scale that created her outdoor arena to be bigger than her actual poster. So she had to tape a piece of poster onto it. Now, you will get marked off if you do something like that. Because in the rubric, one of the targets is the presentation quality. All right, so if I was to present this to my boss, it wouldn't look right if I just taped a piece of paper. So make sure when you're making your scale and you're looking at your realistic lengths that you are picking a final material that will fit it. Okay, so make sure you get a big enough poster. Make sure you know, your binder has enough pages. Whatever it is, make sure there's enough room so that when you go to do your scale, it all fits on the one object, on the one piece of material. This one, oh, is not a house, it is an airplane. I didn't change that. The score is 104%. They got extra credit by doing self-evaluation. They didn't do a 3D model of their airplane. So they only did this. Now, I showed this because they used a different medium. A lot of people use posters, some use binders. But this, they use that trifold, like cardboard poster. I thought was really neat, and they did a really good job at drawing everything out. They spent a lot of time on this, so that's one reason why their score was high. The second reason it was high is because they did that self-evaluation. So remember, if you self-evaluate and turn it in with your project, if you're within 1 point of me, you get 2 extra credit points. If you are within 5 points of my score, you get one extra credit point. So it's definitely one of those easy extra credit opportunities to take advantage of. So make sure you turn that in. Now, they have different views of their airplane, like from the side and above. You don't need to do that. They needed to do it to get all their shapes in. So depending on your object that you're designing, you might have to. But I would try to veer away from it because that's part of what made their project very challenging for them. But they did a great job of it. All right, and then I just want to show you some photos of other extra credits that I got, 3D models. I want you to show you that it doesn't have to be, you know, a floor plan, that it can be a pizza, it could be a robot. I got a lot of food designs last year, so whatever works for you, whatever you want to be creative with, works for me. All right, so tips for success. Keep the numbers simple as possible, but be creative with the design, okay? So you want to keep your numbers as simple as possible, especially with your scale. So pick an easy scale, guys. Make sure that that scale divides nicely. But I want you to be creative. So if you saw that robot, it's, you know, its mouth was a triangle, things like that. You know, design a car where the wheels are squares. Be creative. You do not need multiple views of the design unless that's how you're getting all your shapes into the project. So just like that airplane that I showed you. I use the sketch sheet to grade you on multiple targets. So if you do not turn in the sketch sheet, you will lose lots of points because a lot of the targets, that's where I have to refer to figure out where your grade's going to be. So make sure you sketch your design, you put the real life dimensions on there, and make sure you turn it in with your whole project. So it has to look like your final design on the sketch, and it has to have real life dimensions. So make sure those things are on there because I use that as a reference in a lot of the targets. You need to find all areas but don't need to subtract areas. So that was what we talked about before on like a floor plan. If I have a room and I have a table that's a triangle, when I go to find the area of the room, I just need to find the area of the room. I just need to do base times height, and that's it. I don't need to subtract the triangle table at all. I will, though, need to go and find the area of that triangle and put it in my area sheet, but I don't have to subtract it away from the room. Okay, on a floor plan in real life, they don't subtract away furniture. All right, final material for your final design needs to be able to fit the whole design without taping posters together. So that was that one example that I showed you. It means your scale has to scale down the real life dimensions enough to fit on your final material, whatever that material is going to be. Okay? There's absolutely no notebook paper. If you put your final design on notebook paper, it is not okay. Now listen carefully. I'm saying the final design cannot be on notebook paper. Okay? Your sketch, your area work, that can be on notebook paper. I don't care about that. But your final design has to be on some type of presentation material. Okay? And keep in mind, it doesn't have to be physical material. I had some kids do it on online. I had some like Google Slides or just a design program that they use. Now be careful, they weren't the best grades because it's hard for them to keep accurate on the actual lengths. Okay, so be careful. If you're going to use some type of electronic software, when you go to do the measurements, they have to be actual 5 inches. You can't just label it 5 inches. Okay, so you're gonna have to be careful with that. The easiest way to keep it simple is to do it on a physical piece of material, but if you feel inclined to do so, you can use the software, just make sure it's actually that long, okay? All right, make sure you do your self-evaluation rubric to have the chance at bonus points, because that does get added onto your score. Remember, be as honest as possible, because if you're within my score, you get the bonus points. And you can't use semicircles as your sector. Okay, so no semicircles. I don't want to see, this as your sector and then a circle somewhere else in your design. I don't want to see that. Give me a sector that's different, okay? Give me a sector that might be 20 degrees, okay, or 30 degrees, or whatever. Just not 180. Not 180 and not 360. Okay, give me a sector that's different. Also, you can't, in my design, I can't have a circle and then, okay, now I have a sector right here. You can't do that. All right, it has to be separate. Okay, so it has to be 2 separate objects like I have right here. Okay, you could, if you wanted to, you could do this and then put another circle within it and do a sector there. That would be okay, but it has to be separated from the original circle. Okay, that's all the tips and tricks that I have for you today. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure you're emailing me or putting them in the Google form so that I can help you individually. And I'll be checking in every day we work on this. I'll be checking in. You'll have to fill out Google forms to check in with me so I know where your progress is.